So hello everyone. It's a little bit early, maybe 2 minutes early. So we'll wait for a couple more minutes and wait until everyone is online. Okay, cool. So we're gonna start now. Welcome everyone. Welcome. This is my first webinar. I've done many workshops before, but this is my first webinar, so it feels kind of weird to talk to a computer. But anyways, let's do this. So my name is Chloe. I'm gonna spare you my last name. I don't think you really need it. And so welcome. And so you're here today on this webinar to learn about the 3 things that you need to know in order to make your project or idea successful. And the first thing that I want to know about is if you can look on your right hand side of the YouTube video, there's a little chat, and if you could just let me know where you're listening from, and yeah, what's your name, where you're listening from, where are you, and if you can hear me okay. Okay, cool. So I see Florence, Italy, London, Mallorca. Okay, so nice. I'm in London right now. All right, so let's start then. My end result for this webinar, the reason why I'm doing this webinar basically is I'm a coach. I'm a life coach, and I started coaching people about a year ago, and and it was very much on a personal level, so personal life coaching, which encompassed pretty much all areas of their lives, whether it was personal, professional, business, relationship, family, money, everything. And so that was cool for a year. And but now really my end result is to start coaching people on very specific projects that they have. And I know that everyone has a project, everyone has this idea, everybody has this one thing that they would like to bring to life, basically. And so that's, I found myself being more and more interested in, the projects that people come up with, and a lot of them are really, really cool and very different. And so now I'm going from being a personal life coach to being a project coach. And so this is my first webinar on the matter. And so for today, for this webinar, my end result is to really help you discover if this idea that you have, of this project that you've been thinking about, maybe that you've started working on, is really true for you. Is it really something that you're committed to do? Is it coming from your heart? That's what I want you to establish today. Um, and and also to understand, maybe why you haven't taken the steps towards bringing that project to life. Maybe this is a project that's really close to your heart, but for some reason you're just procrastinating on it. For whatever reason. We'll get into that later. And so my end result is to really to help you out, establish whether this project that you're thinking about is really true for you, and why you haven't been taking the steps that you should have been taking. And for those of you who don't have a project, because that happens, then to give you the kind of basis, the basic information for you to go and say, okay, so I had this little idea in my mind, and now I know this is really truly what I want to do. So the same way I've established some kind of objective for myself and for you guys today, I really want you to take a couple seconds, a minute, to just really ask yourself if there was one thing that you would like to get from this webinar in relation to your project or your idea. Then what would that be? And share it on the chat, and maybe the one thing that you would love to get from this webinar is to know if your project is really worth going for it. Maybe the one thing you want to know is what's your absolute next step towards this project. Just share so that I can see who's there, what is your project about. I like to know who I'm talking to. Again, I'm talking to a computer right now, so it feels a bit impersonal. But so yeah, if you can make it a bit more personal and share with others, sharing is caring. If you could share with others, why you're here for, what is your objective, why have you registered for this webinar, what do you want to get from this webinar. So I'll give you a couple seconds. Fashion life, nice. There's a fashion designer in the house today. An anime series. Cool. Okay, so we'll move on, yeah? Sorry, it's quite cold in London, and I've gotten a cold, I'm afraid. All right, so we're gonna start with the first thing you need to know in order to make your project or idea successful. And and the first premise, um, the first idea, the first concept is that we either create from our ego or we create from our heart. And I know that for some of you guys, what is the ego, what is the heart, but I'm going to share a story with you. It's quite a personal story, just so that you can understand what creating from your ego does, just so that I can illustrate this premise. And the story of me creating from my ego is this one. I used to be in, I used to have I had several relationships, and romantic relationships, and for some reason I always attracted some kind of loser. And the guy who has nothing for himself, the guy who hasn't studied anything, the guy who has absolutely no money, but he's very sweet and he's very nice to me and he loves me. And so that didn't matter to me. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. You're broke, you're poor, your situation is really shitty, but you're a loving, caring guy, and I love you, and so I'd be with you. Yeah, whatever. And so but the interesting part is that it kind of became a pattern in my love life, and so I went from relationship to relationship, literally from loser to loser, from one loser to another loser, and they could be from different countries, they could be from different, they spoke different languages, but I always kind of attracted this sort of loser towards me for some reason. And I mean, bless them, they're great guys, but at the end in a relationship, I was always the one who was working really hard. I was studying, I was working at the same time, I was paying for everything. um I if I wanted to go out, if I wanted to go out for dinner with him, then I would have to pay for dinner because he wouldn't have money to pay for dinner. Whenever I wanted to go on a weekend somewhere, I would be like, hey, let's go visit my uncle for the weekend, and he lives in the mountain, let's go ski for a weekend. And always the question always came down to money. Oh, I don't have money, babe, I don't have money, I'm sorry. And so because I didn't want to uh, put them apart, I would literally pay for everything always. And so I was the money maker, um, breadwinner. And so it came to a point where I got really, really tired of it. And I said, it's enough now. I'm tired of going out with losers. And so I decided that my next relationship, the true relationship for me, the guy I was gonna marry, yeah, was gonna he was gonna be someone with ambition, someone who had his shit together, someone who had a good job, someone who had a minimum of money, someone who was a minimum established. Basically, that's all I wanted. And so I made a list of what I wanted in my next relationship, and I was looking out for someone who met the criteria, basically. And and um, and guess what? I found someone, and I found someone who met all these criteria, who had ambition, who was established, who was making good money, who had a good job. Um, who did not completely depend on me for everything. So once I found that guy, I married him. Yeah, because that was my, if I may say, that was my project. Yeah, my project was to find the guy I was going to marry, and he had to have a bit of money, he had to have ambition, he had to have dreams and goals, and he had to be established. Yeah, and he had to have a good job. And I found him, got married, and but turns out, turns out, this really backfired on me, because that was the worst relationship I've ever had in my entire life. And what happened was that, yes, he was making, twice as much money as I was. Yes, he had a good job. Yes, he had goals and ambitions and dreams and stuff like that. But he was so ambitious that, you know, he actually lost himself in that. And I mean, I can't seriously really remember any gift that he would have made, given me or anything like that. So it's like, so I had found the guy who had met all the criterias, but he wasn't helping me at all. And we started living together, and he was making twice as much money as I was, but he was still requiring me to pay for half of the rent and half of everything. And so um, I would literally I still had to pay for everything from my own pocket, and at the end of the month I had nothing left. I could never save anything. And it escalated to the point where, I was basically paying the bills and stuff, and every time I would ask him to help me out, he would basically refuse to help me out and refuse to pay the bill, and said, this is your thing, this is your responsibility. And so it escalated to the point where basically we were planning on buying a piece of land together. And um, and what happened was that uh, this piece of land was in India, and I did not have any paperwork from India. And so, because I did not have any paperwork from India, my name could not be on the property title of that piece of land. And so I was very upset about it, and I said, well, I'm not gonna give my money, my hard-earned money, for a piece of land where my name is not even on it. If anything happens to you tomorrow, how am I supposed to get it back? And it came to this point where there was this huge drama about me wanting my name on it and him not wanting me to put my name on it, basically. And so all this to say that, I created an even bigger problem for myself, where I had someone who met all the requirements but treated me like shit, and did not help me out in anything, actually. And so I got more of the problem that I was having before. When I was going out with losers who had no money, I was still paying for everything. And so my reaction was to go against that, and I said, I'm fucking tired of going out with losers. And so I'm going to find myself someone who is not a loser. Yeah. But why did I do that? Because I was in reaction. I was trying to fix my situation. I was trying to fix my relationships. I was trying to fix my life, basically. I was just tired of being the one who was always providing. And so I went into reaction towards that, and I tried to create the opposite. Yeah. And so, guess who created that? Do you think it was my ego, or do you think it was my heart? It was my ego. My ego was in reaction, and my ego decided that the solution to my problem would be to create the opposite. And so I went out and created the opposite. I mean, I thought I was creating the opposite, but really, at the end, I created more of the problems that I had at the beginning. Yeah, I created an ambitious, well-established guy who did not help me at all, and who was actually trying, not, I don't know if he was trying, maybe he was unconsciously, but who was constantly pushing me away from, um, yeah, from helping me out. Like, it was like I was living on my own, basically. um, so anyways, this is my story for you to understand that when you create from your ego, you create more problems. Yeah. When you create from your heart, it's not because you're in reaction to something, it's not because you want to fix something. Yeah. When you, so that's really the first question that I want to ask you in relation to your project. Are you trying to fix something? Are you going for that project because you're in reaction to something? Yeah. That's a very important question, and that is the first question you need to ask yourself in relation to your project. And this was my story, but I mean, there's another story about my mentor's friend who lived in Australia, and he wanted to build a house, and he had all the plans, that he had worked on with the architect, and he went to the town hall to get his property's plans approved for to start building it. And the guy at the town hall said, no, I'm sorry, I can't approve that um, because there's something, some part of your house, basically it was the windows. The windows were not, they were not planned according to the local regulations, basically. And so he couldn't approve his plans. And the guy went crazy. The guy went really, really angry, and blamed everything on that guy at the town hall. And then started complaining to everyone, and said, this guy is corrupted, and I'm gonna prove it, and I'm gonna go against him. And the guy went on a full-on rally against this against this guy at the town hall, um, and said all politicians are corrupted, and this is how it is, and he took it so far ahead that he actually presented himself for elections, as a mayor, and and totally forgot about his house, basically, totally forgot about his plans. And then one day, realized it was like just a couple of days before the election, and then he realized that, with the help of my mentor, they were having a conversation, and my mentor was like, why are you doing this? Why are you running for elections? Why are you creating all this drama around it? Because all politicians, they're shit, and they're all corrupted, and I'm gonna prove him wrong, and he's an asshole, and he needs to get out. And so my mentor asked him this very simple question. Yeah, but what about your house? Wasn't that the thing you were going for from the beginning? And the guy stopped it right there, and he said, you know what, you're dead right. You're dead right. I don't even know why I'm doing this. And in the meantime, his wife, who could see the situation from the outside, yeah, and she wasn't in reaction to this, she went to the town hall, asked the guy, what do you need in order to approve these plans for our house? And the guy at the town hall told her, you need to change your windows. And she said, so if I change my windows, are you going to approve my plans for my house? And he said, yes. And so she went back to the architect, got her plans changed, got the windows plans changed, and got her freaking, property plans approved. And that was it. That's all she needed to do. But her husband was in total reaction. And he created, I mean, he was almost gonna be elected, at the town hall. All that because he was in reaction. He wanted to prove that guy wrong. And him being elected and him becoming a politician was not coming from his heart at all, right? It was just coming from his ego, wanting to prove that guy wrong. So this is another example of what happens when you create from your ego. You just don't get what you truly want. Basically, you're just in reaction. And so yeah, I really want you to ask yourself right now, sort of like assimilate, everything I've been saying so far. Are you creating to fix something? Are you in reaction to something or someone? Are you trying to fix society? Because if you are in reaction to something or someone or society, and if you are going for that project to sort of like save the world, because the world is shit and society is shit, and someone's got to do the dirty job, like, that's not coming from your heart, right? There's an agenda behind it, right? If you do things from your heart, there is nothing behind it. You're just going for that project or for that idea just for the sake of it, just because you would love to create that. You see, you're not in reaction to anything. And I just want to give you an example, a great example actually, that you can find in the movie The Secret, which I used to watch on and on and on and on. And then it's a good movie, but it's not everything. There's a lot of things there that are not said. It's not the whole truth. Yeah. But there is a very good example about this, and it's the example of Mother Teresa. She said, "Don't invite me to an anti-war rally. Invite me to a peace rally. If you invite me to an anti-war rally, I'm not gonna go. If you invite me to a peace rally, I will go." And because she understood that, what you resist persists. Really. So if you're gonna go to an anti-war rally, you're just gonna create more war, basically. You're going there in reaction. You're going there to fix. Yeah. But if you're going there for peace, peace is peace. That's it. There's nothing. It's not like, oh, I want peace so that war doesn't exist. No, it's like, I'm just going there for peace. And it's such a bigger, higher objective, and that comes from your heart. So just really ask yourself right now, are you going to do this project, or do you want to put this idea out there in because you're in reaction to something or someone, or because something happened to you and you said, I'm not going to let that happen to anybody else, so that's just you being in reaction. Cool. So how are we doing so far? It's 3:30. Okay, so we will probably go ahead of 4. The webinar is supposed to be an hour and a half. I don't like to really limit, because sometimes I have things to say and they're important, and sometimes I don't have things to say, and it's okay. But in case I have things to say, I like to keep it to keep a bit of margin. So that was the first thing you need to know before you go out there and create a project, and it's that you create either from your ego or your heart. And so the first thing you need to know is, why are you creating this project? Why do you want to put this idea forward? Yeah. And so let's move on to the second premise. Focus creates reality. This is my favorite one, absolute favorite one. Well, this is Mother Teresa's example was a great sort of transition towards this second premise, because it shows you, if you're focusing on fighting war, then all you're going to do is create more war. You're in reaction. The same way, I was fighting paying for everything all the time. I was fighting against being in a relationship where I was getting absolutely no support. And so I thought I was creating the opposite. I thought I was focusing on you know, creating a relationship where we would mutually support each other. It wasn't just me supporting the other, you know, but really I was just focusing on my problem. I was focusing on me, you know, always being the one providing. And so I was in reaction against it, and I thought I was creating the opposite. Turns out, I created even a bigger problem. Yeah, and now I'm divorced. So it really did not go well at all. So, but this, you know, what you resist persists, really. So if you think you're focusing on a solution, really what you're focusing on is the problem, not the solution to the problem. You're actually focusing on the problem. You're giving more energy to the problem. And so obviously you're going to create more problems. And so I found this little statistic online, and I thought that was quite interesting. Did you know that 75% of project managers think that their project is doomed since the beginning? I mean, project managers. And I'm thinking, wow, so if you start your project thinking that it's never gonna work, and you know, and that it's doomed, then it's not gonna be really helpful yet, because focus creates reality. So if you think that your project is shit and is never gonna work, it's basically never gonna work. Yeah, because you're creating that. Your focus is gonna create that. And so I just want you guys to do a little exercise, which I really like this. I really like this exercise. Um, this is called a mini conflict process, and what it does is it helps you understand what is going on in your mind. What are you telling yourself in relation to your project, in this case, in this scenario, right? But see, these project managers, no, they think that their project is doomed since the beginning. Yeah. And so the more they go into their project, the less it's going to work, right? And so this little exercise is really, really cool to sort of like become aware of what you're telling yourself, you know, the doubts that you have. Because if you're not aware of it, then it's literally running the show. And so I want you guys to write down, take a pen and paper, and actually, yeah, take a pen and paper, and I want you guys to write down these questions, yeah. And I'm gonna call my little friend here, and we're gonna do a demonstration of this exercise live, so you guys can understand how it works. And after that, I'm gonna give you a few minutes so that you can do it on your own, yeah. Hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. Can you guys just type in the chat box if you can all hear Arush?
I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot.
Yes, you are on the spot. Okay. So, Arush, can you see on the chat?
I can see the chat.
Can everybody hear you?
No one is responding, so I don't know.
Okay, can anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
They can.
They can? Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to do a mini conflict process. And basically what this is it's just going to help you out become aware of what is going on in your mind in relation to your project. Could you turn off the sound from the video?
I have turned it off.
Okay, weird. Anyways, all right. So what's your project?
The anime series.
The anime
that I wanna
series.
make. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so and guys, those of you listening, please just make notes of the questions. Yeah. So the first question you want to ask is, what's your project? You see. And then the second question is, what are your thoughts about this project? So Arush, what are your thoughts about your project?
That it's never gonna happen. It needs a lot of work. I still need to write quite a lot. I need to find people who can help me animate it and not take a lot of my money doing it. And yeah, that's it. It just requires a lot of work, and I don't think it's gonna happen anywhere in the near future.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And what feelings do you have towards this project?
Oh man, frustration.
Frustration.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Just anger. And maybe a bit of depression, like a bit of sadness that it's not gonna happen. But I still want it to happen, so yeah.
Okay, so frustration, sadness, anger. Cool. So you guys want to write down, what you're feeling about this project, and you want to write about, 2 or 3 feelings, and for the thoughts you want to write about, 4 or 5 major thoughts that you're having about this project. All right, so let's continue. And Arush, how would you define yourself in relation to this project?
That I'm not capable enough doing this.
You're not capable enough.
I'm talented in, that.
You're not talented enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how would you define others? And others can be, people who you're working with. It can be anyone really, but in relation to this project, you know who others are. So how would you define others in relation to this project?
Oblivious, lost their own world.
They're oblivious.
Yeah.
They're in their own world.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
That they're talented.
They are talented.
Yeah. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Okay. And how would you define the world in general?
The world is a difficult place to navigate.
The world is a difficult place.
Navigate, yeah.
To navigate. Okay. Anything else?
I wanted to say unfair, maybe slightly, yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I said unfair.
Oh, the world is unfair. Okay. Okay, great. And so let's consider everything you've said so far. Yeah, your thoughts, your feelings, definition of yourself, others, and the world. And just close your eyes, 3-4 seconds, and just really embody all those thoughts and feelings and definitions that you have about this project. And tell me, what emotion do you feel? What emotion does that bring to you?
It's anger.
Anger.
Yeah.
Okay. And what action are you compelled to take from anger?
To rebel at what I'm doing, to not get it side for a while till I get my anger off.
So to, yeah, okay. So to put it aside, to put your project aside.
Yeah.
Okay. So sort of like give up, basically.
Well, give up, but like I'm telling myself it's temporary and just move on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So temporarily putting it on hold.
Yeah.
Okay. And so tell me, what is the inevitable end result when you put it on hold?
Then it's gonna take a long time to happen.
Yeah. It's not gonna happen right now. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very good. Very good. So, all right, guys. So this was the example of the exercise. Arush, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for being a volunteer. All right. Talk to you later, man. Bye. So you see, Arush had this project, and he's got thoughts about it and feelings and definitions, and so now I'm gonna give you a few minutes, guys. Let's give you guys 5-6 minutes. I want you to write these questions in this order. So what is your project? Yeah. What thoughts do you have about this project? What feelings do you have about this project? Yeah. And how would you define yourself in relation to this project? You saw Arush defined himself as, I am not talented enough. I don't have what it takes. And how would you define others in relation to this project? Yeah. And how would you define the world in general? Yeah. And if you can, for the definitions, if you can give 2 or 3 words for each definition, so you have a good overview. Yeah. And then taking into account everything you said so far, everything you wrote down about your project, your thoughts, your feelings, your definitions of self, others, the world, just really embody this whole thing that you've written so far, and ask yourself, what emotion does that bring to you? Yeah. And then from that emotion, what action are you compelled to take? And then after taking that action, what is the inevitable end result? So we saw Arush's emotion was anger, and the action he was compelled to take was to basically put his project aside. Yeah. And just forget about it momentarily. Yeah. And so what is the inevitable end result? Well, his project doesn't happen because he's put it on hold. Yeah. So I'm gonna give you 1 second. Yeah, okay. You guys can pause the webinar if you want to, for a couple minutes, and then you can resume. I think it's better so that we don't go too much overtime. And then the silence will be awkward for 5 minutes. So yeah, if you want to do this exercise right now, just pause the video, and then continue when you're ready. Okay. So yeah, so then I'll move on now, and basically, yeah, what let's recap basically from, you know, from the beginning. So the first thing you want to know, in order to create a successful project is whether you are creating from your heart, you see, or you are creating from your ego. And the second thing you want to know is where your focus is. You want to know where your focus is. See, now Arush knows that, you know, all these thoughts are going through his mind, and these are all the definitions he has, and this is the emotion he feels, and this is the action he's compelled to take to put his project aside. So you, first thing you need to know, am I doing this from my heart? And second thing you need to know, where is my focus? Yeah. And so where do we go from there? Okay, so now I've established that I'm doing this project from my heart. Okay, now I understand, I've seen where my focus is. Yeah. And so where do I go now? And that's usually the question that everyone asks, you know. So what do I do now with my thoughts, and what do I do with my focus, and what do I do with my project? And um, by the way, if you like this exercise, this is a short version of it. There's a longer version of it, and I have lots more exercises like this. If you like this exercise, and if you want to do more exercises like this, you can find them in my book. Did I put a slide? Yes, I did put a slide of my book. So this is my book. I just published it a couple of weeks ago with Arush, and who's also the co-author. The Alchemist Workbook. And so in that book, it's basically a 7-week course. So you got little description there. 7-week course offering practical knowledge and application of the principles of alchemy. The coaching that I do, whether it's personal or project oriented, is based on alchemy. And what is alchemy? It's basically the art of turning lead into gold. What does that mean? That means really, alchemy is about using all the negatives of your life, so anger, your fear, your obstacles, your problems, etc., and converting that into gold, into amazing projects, into amazing results. You see, turning lead into gold. So if you're interested in more exercises, this book is great because you got plenty of exercises. It's like a 30-minute read per week, and at the end of the week you have exercises, and you can send us an email with the results of your exercise. You can share with us your learnings, and then we reply to you and give you additional support if we feel that it's needed. So yeah, but basically, see, this is so important. Like, it's you know, you need to, when you're working with the project, like I know people who have been working on the project for like forever. And why is that? Because they don't understand that there is an ego inside, and it's telling them stuff, and it's got thoughts, and it's got feelings, and it's basically taking them away from their project. And a lot of people don't understand that they don't have the self awareness. They don't, you know, people say, oh, I'm a big procrastinator, and so, but they don't understand why that is, you know. But because there's a thought there, there's a definition, there's a belief, there's a limiting belief there that's preventing them from going ahead. See, Arush, you know, his focus is on the fact that, you know, he believes he's not talented enough to create an anime series. And so, you know, he keeps on procrastinating his work, procrastinating his project, because he has the belief that he's not talented enough. And so if you're not aware of that, see, now he became aware of that, and you know, and he can understand, okay, that's just my that's just my fear, that's just my ego kicking in and being triggered, and trying to keep me safe and secure, basically, and not go for this massive project because it's scary. This creating an emissary is scary. It's a big project. It involves a lot of things, and so if you have a big project, or even something that's really close to your heart, something that really means something to you, it's scary. And so your ego is going to come up with a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't go ahead with this project. And Arush's reason is that he's not talented, which is total bullshit. Sorry, I swear a lot. But I just want to share a couple stories from the people I've been coaching, and these are people I've been coaching on a personal level. So my full focus was not given to their project, but we were dealing with several things, with family, with relationship, with the project, with professional life, etc., etc. And but still, then, I mean, the results we got, I was really proud of myself. I was like, wow, I'm actually helping this person out in taking this project further, or in improving his relationship with his wife, or in improving his relationship with his parents. Like that really fills my heart. Like that really makes me happy when I see that happening. And like, for example, I've got this coachee. His name is Ranjot, and he's from New Delhi. And I coach him and his wife, Sarita. And their massive project, is to create a self-sustainable community in the hills in India. That's a pretty big project, right? And the guy knows nothing about it. And when we first started working together, he was just he did not know where to start with. He had no clue where to start with. And the cool thing is, him and his wife want to do this together, so that's awesome. And he was convinced that in order to make this project happen, he needed money. And so he, instead of going out there and making his project happen, what was he doing? He was going everywhere to try and find money. So he was trying to get into business ventures that never worked. He was trying to get some sort of job. He was trying to get money. See, because he believed that in order to get this project happening, he needed money first. He put money as a condition. Yeah. And that's how I met him. And now he's been coaching with me for 3 months. And now he understands that, if he's just running around after money, his project is not going to happen. And what is really important? Why does he want the money for? He wants the money so that he can make his project happen. Yeah. So, but he can see that he's making money the only condition to his project happening. And he got that that's just his ego, and that's also his way of procrastinating, of putting his project to later. Yeah. And now he actually started taking classes in self-sustainable cropping. So he started taking classes with this NGO in Delhi, and they teach people in the slums how to basically grow their own vegetables and have their own little garden, so that they don't need to buy it, so that they don't need to spend money on that. And he didn't know anything about it. And he started this course with this NGO. Then he asked the NGO if he could volunteer. The NGO said, yes, you can volunteer. Then he started working with, he was teaching kids in the slums in Delhi on how to create their own sustainable garden, to grow their own vegetables. And then he loved it so much that there was this opportunity for a job. There was this opportunity for a job, and he asked the NGO, can I apply for this job? And the NGO said, well, you need to have a particular qualification, and this qualification is basically this sort of training in agriculture, and which he didn't have. And so he applied for the training, and the training was really, really expensive. And again, he was like, oh my god, how am I gonna do this? Because I don't know if you know, but in order for you to create a self-sustainable community, you need to know about this stuff. You need to know about how to grow your own freaking garden, and how to live off your garden, how to live off, nature. We're humans, but we live in the city now. We don't know any of that stuff. So he had to go out there and learn that. And he asked the NGO and said, well, you know what, guys, I'm really interested in this. I really want to do this. I really want this job. I'm really passionate about this, but I don't have the money to pay for the whole training. And could you guys sponsor me? And they said yes. And so he went to Pune, India, to for like this 10 days training. And then after that, once he's done with his training, he can come back to Delhi and get a job as a proper teacher, where he's going to be in charge of organizing workshops for kids in the slums on how to grow their own vegetable gardens. I mean, that's amazing, and that's just the beginning. But you can see how he went from running around looking for money so that he could make his project happen, but never made anything happen in relation to his project. And now he's actually working in there. He's gaining the knowledge. He's gaining the skills necessary for him to go out there and create his own self-sustainable community. And that's just the beginning. That's just after 3 months of coaching. And then also on the side, he got a business deal with a partner, and that business deal is really, really going to help him, and it's going to be a very helpful structure for him in order to invest in that self-sustainable community. So, our ego is just going to make us run around and do nothing. But once you become aware of it, then you have this awareness, and you understand that's just your ego trying to keep you safe and secure, and trying to keep you away from you going towards your project, which can be quite scary. Yeah. If your project is not scary, then you need to find yourself another project. Seriously. Yeah. Your project needs to create some tension for you. Yeah. That's when you get results. So anyways, let's move on. Yeah, so the third premise, and this is another one of my favorites also. The structures you have in place will determine whether you will succeed or you will fail. And that is so, this premise has so much integrity, guys. It's scary. It's really, really scary. So structure. I love structure. So what is a structure? What structures do we have in place in our life? Yeah. And that's really, really simple. Your friends are a structure. Your family members are structures. Your home is a structure. A gym membership is a structure. The school where you study at is a structure. Your work environment, your job is a structure. Your girlfriend is a structure. Your boyfriend is a structure. I mean, pretty much everything is a structure, really. All these are structures. And the interesting part about structures is that, see, a structure is really, what is a structure? A structure is something that takes you from point A to point B. That's it. That's a structure. See, it starts in one point and it goes to another point, and that's enough to make a structure. Yeah. And we humans establish structures from our ego. Usually, I'm not saying every time, But our default mode is our ego. Our ego is our automatic pilot. Yeah, we're not really aware that it's there and it's driving the machine. Um, but yeah, we tend to establish structures coming from our ego because that's all we know. Because that's the easiest thing we can do. That's, as I said, it's our default mode. That is our safe zone, secure zone, comfortable zone, whatever you want to call it. That's all we know. Yeah. And so, we create friends. Um, interestingly enough, you know, we create a lot of our friends from our ego. Um, you know, sometimes we have friends with who we share drama, and when something happens to us, we just call them and we'll be like, "Oh my God, this girl told me this. What a bitch. Can you believe this?" And then our friend would be like, "Oh my God, yes, I totally agree with you. What a bitch. I'm not going to talk to her anymore because she did this to you, blah blah blah." So we create friendships based on how others get enrolled in our egos and in our own egoistic drama. Yeah. And so if I'm in reaction to something, yeah, and I'm in my ego, and if I'm going to create friends who are going to be on my side in this one. Yeah. And but it's very rare that a friend of yours will tell you, well, you know, I think you're overreacting. I think that this you're not dealing with the situation the proper way. I mean, imagine if your friend told you that, you'd be like, "Fuck you, I'm right." You know, how dare you say that? This girl spoke to me like this, and this person did this to me, and they're assholes, and I'm right, and how can you say that I'm overreacting? And and but so we tend to create structures in our life so that we are in our comfort zone. Yeah, we create structures that confirm to us that our ego is the right way, sort of. And but again, the same way you create structures from your ego, you can actually create structures coming from your heart. Yeah. And so if you create structures from your ego, guess what you're going to get more of? You're going to get more of your ego. Yeah. If my friend buys into my ego, then that's just going to confirm to me that my ego is the right way to be. And so I'm just going to perpetuate my ego behaviors. Yeah. But if I create a friendship from from my heart, not from my ego, then I have friends who call me on my shit. Like, I have friends who tell me how it is, and they tell me in my face, and I hate it. But for me, they are such amazing structures, because when I'm in my ego, when I'm in my drama, they recognize it and they call me on it, and they tell me, Chloe, right now you're overreacting. Right now you're trying to fix this person or that situation. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have become aware of those things, you see. So I just want to give you an example of a structure that I have created uh, from my heart, and how it has truly gotten me the results, truly helped me succeed. Yeah. So about a year ago, I signed up for um, a coaching accreditation, which is not really a training, but it's more like it was more of it was a structure in which I had 4 months to become an accredited coach, and I had certain requirements that I had to fulfill. And one of those requirements was me, uh, you know, coaching at least 11 or 12 people. I had to have made a particular amount of money from coaching. I had to have read a whole list of books in relation to coaching. I had to Um, um, what else? What else? Yeah, I think that's it. There were certain exercises that I needed to do with a certain amount of people, and I had to send them. Had to send the exercises to my supervisor for her to review them and see if I had been doing my coaching exercises properly and all that. And it was a very expensive accreditation, like, you know, something around £500 a month, which is really, really expensive, for me at least. But I signed up. I signed up because I thought this is my calling. I really want to do this. I really want to coach people. This work has helped me so much in my life. I've gone from, nothing um, to being fulfilled and happy and having amazing friends and having amazing people in my life and doing everything that I love, basically. And so I really, it was in my heart to really share that with others. And I thought this is very stressful. This accreditation is very stressful. It's very expensive, but I know about structure, and this is going to be my structure. And to be honest, if I did not have that structure in place, I wouldn't have become a coach, because that structure was in place and created so much tension for me. If I had not had this structure in place, I wouldn't have gone out there and created workshops. I wouldn't be doing this webinar right now with you guys. I wouldn't have met my coaching clients, which are all amazing people, and they're doing such amazing projects in their lives. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to contribute to them, to be of service to them, and they also made me learn things about myself. I made money from this, and yada yada yada. And 4 months was very short, and to be honest, I did not complete all the requirements. I did not fulfill all the requirements by the end of the 4 months. But I was really, really not far, really, really not far. And so I got transferred to the next year. So everything I've done will be transferred to the next year. So I haven't lost anything. But um, I had a conversation at the end of those 4 months with my supervisor, and she said, "Well, Chloe, you didn't make it, but you were really not far." And I said, "Listen, I have absolutely no regrets, because if it wasn't for this structure that I set up, that I have established for myself, then I wouldn't have become a coach. I wouldn't be coaching all the people I'm coaching now. I wouldn't be making a living out of this. I wouldn't have made workshops. And I've learned so much through putting up workshops and coaching others, and managing all the logistical aspects of being a coach, and things like that. I mean, I've in those 4 months, you know maybe I did not meet all the requirements, but for me, within 4 months, I became a coach, and I started making living out of being a coach. And when I started it, I thought, oh my god, I have to do a workshop. Oh my god, I have to make this much money. Oh my god, I have to pay this much money. I mean, I was really, really stressed out. But this accreditation, um, uh, this accreditation process was my structure for me to go and create what I really, really wanted to create, which was me becoming a coach. I really wanted to become a coach, but I was so shit scared about it. And if it had not been for that structure, I wouldn't have done anything. I wouldn't have taken all the steps that I took. You see, it was my structure, and it made me succeed. You see, if I had not had that structure, I wouldn't be a coach today. Maybe I would have created one or two things, but because I wouldn't have had a structure in place, I wouldn't have gotten the results that I got. Yeah. So structure is extremely important. Um, Structures give you results. To be honest, that's it. Structures give you results. And you need to ask yourself right now, are the results that you are getting in your life in line with what you want to create? So let's say you have this project going on, yeah? Just take a look and ask yourself, have I created any results in relation to this project? And if yes, are they in line with my project? Are they really where I want my project to go? Are they in line with where I want my project to go, basically? Um, and that's sort of how you're gonna see whether you have structures in place or not. And and it can happen that sometimes you have structures in place, but they're not being really of service to you. Maybe you've created those structures from your ego in a place of comfort, because you didn't want to make it too scary. When I created that structure of accreditation as a coach, I was shit scared, really, really scared. But that structure literally kicked me in the ass, and I had to do it because that was my structure. Even see, structures make you achieve results whether you want it or not. Whether you wake up in the morning telling yourself, "Oh, I don't feel like working on this project today." But if you have a structure in place, you have no choice, my friend. You see? And I'm saying it's not about forcing yourself, but truly, honestly, in your heart, in my heart, I wanted to become a coach. But obviously, we're humans, and when I wake up in the morning, I don't really feel that excited about it. And then when I reconnect to that, when I'm in my structure and when I am coaching people, I think to myself, wow, I love this. I really love this. And this webinar is a structure for me. It's a structure for me to continue growing myself as a coach. You see, continue sharing and empowering others. So yeah, so that's what structure do. And as a little assimilation exercise, I want you guys to do this little. Yeah, I just want you guys to make a list of all the structures you have in place in relation to your project. Yeah, so you can pause the video now, but I want you to make a list of all the structures you have in place in relation to your project, and and really notice which ones are giving you results and which ones are not giving you results. Yeah, and maybe you realize you have no structure in place. Yeah, that which is great. Yeah. So basically you're getting very little results. If you have no structure in place, you will be getting very little results. Or maybe you realize that you have some structures in place, but they're not the best ones. They're not giving you as much results as um, yeah, as you were expecting, and maybe it's time for you to change your structure. Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, to be honest, I'm here to offer my services as a coach, and the truth is that coaching is a structure. So, and my clients really understand that, because they know that if it wasn't for our 2 monthly coaching sessions, then they wouldn't get the results that they get. They understand that this coaching is a structure. They know that without the structure, no one is behind their back, asking them, so what results have you created? Okay, so let's refocus. Okay, so what is your ego telling you? I mean, if you just go back into your life now, you're just going to fall again into your egoic structures. Yeah. So if you really want to see a difference, if you really want to see a change, an improvement in your life in general and in your project, you need to set up a structure. Yeah. And I would be happy to be that structure for you. Yeah. So what people usually ask, so what do you learn? Okay, so let's say we become I become your coach and you become my coaching client, what are you going to get? Yeah. So when we coach, you're going to be basically able to identify your true self. So what you would really love to create from your heart, not from your ego. Yeah. When I say that, I'm talking about, your true passion. What do you want to truly contribute to this world? And we're also going to identify your ego, because it's very important to understand what is your ego telling you, and how it gets in the way of you creating what you love, creating your project. Yeah. And then you're going to get a very clear and specific vision on, of what you would love to create in relation to your project. So my coaches have an extremely detailed, specific vision of what they want their project to be. You see, like I told you about my coachee Ranjot, who is creating a self-sustainable community in the hills of India. Self-sustainable community, like that's a big word, yeah. But when we worked on his project, he actually saw everything in there: the houses, the people, the activities that would be that would take place there. What would be the source of income for this self-sustainable community, et cetera, et cetera. So all my coaches have a very clear, specific idea of what they want to create. Yeah. um, you're gonna get your set of personalized affirmations based on your vision. Because you know what, guys, the reason why affirmations don't work is because they're not yours. See, I used to have this massive vision board with: I am rich, I am rich, I am powerful, I am abundant, my life is abundant, money comes to me easily. And that's bullshit. First of all, because I'm trying to fix a problem, which is me not having money. Yeah. And I used to think that by just doing affirmations like that was gonna work. But that's not gonna work. Why? Because focus creates reality. So if I was trying to fix my problem. So what was I focused on? My problem. What was my problem? Oh, I didn't have money at that point. So I created an affirmation about abundance, thinking I was focused on abundance. But really, I wasn't focused on abundance. I was focused on, fuck, I have no money. Yeah? So we're going to create a set of personalized affirmations that are yours and that they are coming from your heart, you see? This coaching seriously develops your intuition, seriously develops your intuition. You become so much more aware of yourself. You become so much more aware of your ego and your heart and the difference between the two. And it becomes so much more easier for you guys to recognize what is true and what is not true. When your ego is constantly lying to you, telling you stuff, yeah, but that's not the truth. And so when you develop your intuition, when something is coming from your ego and when something is really coming from your heart. um, you're going to learn techniques more powerful than meditation, that's for sure. My coaching, I told you before, is based on alchemy, and hermetic philosophy, Egyptian hermetic philosophy. So it's a combination of things, um, and I do use meditation, not a lot, but I do use meditation in order to open you up to different things, to the truth, to your ego, to your heart. Meditation is a really cool way of getting to know yourself. And then some techniques like the exercise we just did earlier. These are the techniques that are even more powerful than meditation. Um, After that, yeah, you're gonna learn how to switch your focus from your problem to what you love. Yeah, because you say, oh my God, okay, so these are the thoughts I'm having from my ego. So what do I do next? Yeah. Well, you need to switch your focus from the problem to what you love. So you stop giving energy to your problem. Yeah. So you stop creating more of your problem and you start creating more of what you love. Yeah. And then, you're going to get personalized sessions based on your current situation. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's project is different. Everybody's circumstances are different. So, coaching is really about, there's no one right way of doing it. So I really adapt myself to what my client needs. Yeah. Um, and yeah, you're going to get massive guidance in dealing with decision making and other issues like confusion, procrastination, not being able to make a decision. These are regular problems that I see, that people are dealing with. And through coaching, it's just like so easy. I when I'm facing a big decision, I literally, it takes me 2 minutes, honestly. And then, have someone, me, to put you back on track towards your goal. Because to be honest, if you have no one kicking your ass, you're not going to do anything. And I don't kick your ass. I'm not like that. But I'm your structure, you see. um, and so I make sure that you are on track towards your goal, that you are going there. um, and your coach, me, I'm available for help outside sessions. Like, we're buddies, we're friends. I don't have any coaching client who I'm not friends with, because you have to open yourself up. You have to yeah, you have to be true, honest with yourself. So we come to this learning of each other that can only make us friends, you see. um, so if you have a crisis outside of the coaching sessions, there's no problem. You can text me, you can call me. I'm available. I'm not like sort of like rigid. Oh no, you need to set up a session. I've got coaching clients who call me because their boyfriend haven't texted them in 2 days and they're desperate. So, I can deal with stuff. I don't want this to become a habit. I don't like it to become a habit, because I don't want you to become codependent on me for every single thing in your life. That's not powerful. You are a powerful creator, and so I trust you to know how to deal with things. But if really there's a point where you don't know what to do, you're really, you need some guidance, I am rightly available. And so, gosh, it's almost over. So yeah, so would you love to make your project successful? And if you would, I'm sure you would, who wouldn't? Then I'm inviting you right now to book a first consultation with me for only 25 euros. If you look into the description of the video, there's a link provided. There's a link to the book for those of you guys who want to buy the book only, and then there's a link to purchase your free, and it's not free, sorry, your first consultation for 25 euros. Those of you who register for the first consultation, you will get the book in PDF version for free. I will send it to you by email. And basically what we're going to do during this consultation is we're going to establish if this project that you really want to put forward is really coming from your heart. That is the first thing that I need to establish with you. If it's not coming from your heart, then potentially you're gonna go out there and create more problems for yourself. So I don't want you to go out there and create more problems for yourself. So this consultation is really to see whether your project is true. Is it true? Is it an egoic project, or is it a project coming from your heart? And I don't. Obviously, I'm single. I'm a single person, so I can't deal with everybody's project, and that's why. And I also noticed that not everybody's project is true, and so that's why this is a sort of, this is a way for us, for me and for you, to not waste our time. you see. So if we decide to go ahead with your project, and if we decide that, you know, we're gonna start a coaching relationship together, then those 25 euros will go towards your coaching payment. But if we establish that, you know, it's not true for me to coach you, and this project is not true for you, then do not despair. Actually think about it as you saving yourself a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of trouble. Because if you are creating something big as a reaction to something, then you're just going to get more issues, more problem, because focus creates reality. And so I just wanted, the consultation is 1 hour, okay? And I just want to tell you guys that my normal rate is 100 euros per hour. So I'm not charging this because this is not coaching per se. This is a consultation where, you know, I'm still giving you an hour of my time. But, you know, it's really for us to establish whether it's true for us to work together, basically. Yeah. For projects, the fee will be determined depending on the project, depending on the idea. Did I tell you how much was the book? The book is 5.99 euros. Yeah, depending on where you're from, which card you're using, you will be charged accordingly. So yeah, the fee for the project coaching really depends on the project. Really depends on you. I really listen to my heart when I decide how much I'm going to charge someone. This is not a regular coaching. Usually I charge 300 euros per month for coaching people, and that includes 2 sessions per month. Each session is an hour and a half, depending. But for project coaching, it's really not the same. I don't, you know, not one project is the same. Not everybody's circumstances are the same. And so I really got that, you know, what was true for me, you know, from my heart. I really want to create partnerships, you know. If I'm going to coach you on a project, then obviously, you know, I'm going to feel involved in it in some way or another. And so what I'm really looking for is to partner up with people who have cool projects, you know, projects that are coming from their heart and that are going to make a difference out there. Yeah. So so during that consultation, you know, I'm going to ask you more about your project, et cetera, what type of help you're looking for, where if you have already created something in relation to your project, where are you, you know, what have you done so far in relation to your project, and then we will be able to establish how much is worth, you know, like how much I'm ready to charge you, how much you're able to put in. I'm quite flexible. I don't want to make this sort of like a very rigid pricing thing. It's really not true for me, you know, in relation to project coaching. I really feel that I need to listen up to the person who has this project going on, and see what kind of help I will be able to give to that project, and take it from there, really. So during the consultation, we'll first establish if it's true for you, true for me, if we want to work together, where are you so far in your project, and you know, how much I'm willing to charge you, how much you're willing to pay. So I really want us to come to an agreement, because that's how partnerships are created. For you guys who are in India and Pakistan, I know too well that some credit cards don't work. So if you're interested in the book or in the first consultation, please send me a private message, and then I will give you another way of paying for it. Yeah, I have You can do a bank transfer to a bank account in India. I've got Paytm as well, so I'm sorted. But I'm aware that this link might not actually accept your debit card. So if that doesn't work for you, please send me a private message, and we can figure it out. Yeah, I'll tell you how to do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, everything I teach can be applied in every area of your life. So I will be coaching you specifically on your project, because I want to focus on one thing. I think you get much more results when you focus on one thing. By the way, there's this book called The One Thing. You should check it out. It's quite cool. Yeah. So, but really, all the techniques I'm going to give you, all the knowledge and the guidance that I'm going to give you, all the exercises, the meditations, everything you can apply in every area of your life. And it's made a huge difference to me. It's made a huge difference to my coaching clients in every area of their life, to be honest. And so I'm going to leave you with this, guys. You know, I really want you to ask yourself, ask your heart, what, you know, where would you love your project to go from now? Would you love to do this? Would you love to consider coaching? And if so, then get your first consultation on. By the way, guys, every consultation is on Skype because I'm a travel bug. I live between Spain and London and India, and so I'm always on the move. And if I have the opportunity to meet you in person, I definitely will. But if not, then all my sessions are on Skype. Yeah, and then I will contact you. You get your first consultation paid. Remember to put your email, and I will contact you, and we will set up a Skype coaching session together. Yeah. So yeah, just really ask your heart. Would you love to do this? And if the answer is yes, then I look forward to hearing from you guys. So that's it. That's over for today. Thank you so much for staying alive, staying online, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you guys very soon. Bye bye.